So hello, welcome to the video and welcome to cell 5466 on P&O's Arvia cruise ship. Yes, I called it a cell, and by the end of the video I think you'll understand why I've done that. Now, I didn't pick this cabin, and it's quite a long story as to why that was the case, but having been in this cabin now for about 9, maybe 10 nights, I've got to know it pretty well, and I was starting to worry that making a video about it wouldn't take that long because, well, it's not very big. But telling you the story about why I didn't pick this cabin will take a minute or two, which should make this into a normal length video. So if you'd like to see what cell number 5466 on the P&O Arvia is like, and you'd like to hear why I'm in it, stick around. Hi, I'm Matt, and I love cruising. I love the ships, the places you visit, the entertainment, and every now and again I'll also enjoy a drink. So subscribe to see where I go next and perhaps get some inspiration for your next cruise. As is now usual, we'll start with the slightly famous and occasionally copied head on the map sequence. From the lifts, it's a relatively short walk to the cabin. A lot of cabins demand a longer walk, so I suppose I did luck out to some degree with where my cabin was located. No clues from the carpeting as to which way is forward on the Arvia. And here's the laundrette, and here, right next door, is my cabin, 5466. So you step through the door, card in the slot for the power to work, and you get the idea pretty quickly. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 paces to the bed, and that's about it. A workspace here, and then that is back to the entryway again, so not that much to talk about. Wardrobes on the left, decent space I have to say, sorry if it's a bit dark. Basically a full row of hanging space with space above and below. And then another cabinet here which has some shelves and obviously the safe should you need it. This is a 13-day cruise, so there's obviously quite a few more clothes been brought with me than might normally be the case. A little bit of hanging space on the side here. Despite being a very new ship, it's a very basic air conditioning system, but it does keep the room cool and it has worked for me. Back around to this desk area again, and tea and coffee making facilities as is contractually required on all cruises leaving the United Kingdom. In here you'll find the bits and pieces, including cookies. One advantage I've got over my mum's cabin is that she doesn't get any cookies, but I do. So there you go. Not entirely sure whether that's sort of a consolation prize for being this far down the ship, but it is quite a plus nevertheless. A little bit of storage up here, the obligatory penguin, every cabin has them, and the bed. Now the bed is two pushed together, and I have to say there is quite a join between them, quite a pronounced join. It's a short bed too with no rounded edges, so I have been discomforted by having to sleep somewhat on the diagonal to be able to fit in, and as the night has gone on my body weight has sort of pushed the beds further apart, which has created some difficulties in sleeping well. If I sleep straight on it's okay, but my feet hang over the edge by about 8 inches. Storage both sides, lights, and a nice little array of mirrors to reflect back the natural light. Well, no, there isn't any natural light. Swing around, and there's a pretty good TV actually, I have to say. It's well located for the bed, quite decent size, some space here to put stuff. Cabinetry under here, a fridge in there which is full of all of the benefits of being in this sort of cabin, i.e. nothing, and then there's a little bit more storage down here which I'm not using. A phone as well. So another few words about the TV, because it's actually quite good. It's a very modern TV to start off with, so it's very good quality. There are a number of channels, a few news channels, quite a few sports channels, and some general entertainment channels. But the thing that really quite impressed me was the selection of films that you have available to you, all of which I think are available for free. There's no charge showing up when you actually try and select a movie. Now I know that wasn't the case on the MSC cruise that I was recently on, and I think that's actually quite a good little feature, particularly if you're a little fatigued at the end of the day or in the afternoon and don't really want to be going and running around outside. Lots of other information, a view from the bridge, the usual sorts of things. Not perhaps the best quality webcam you've ever seen, but it is at least a way of getting some daylight into this interior cabin. So good marks for the TV at least. So all pretty basic, and the bathroom, of course, you do at least get one of those, is through here, and it's okay. As I say, this is quite a modern ship, so everything looks quite fresh and new, light wood tones. A shower, door opens both ways, which is quite handy to know. I find it easier to open it outwards to get in and then open it inwards to get out. Relatively poor water pressure, I have to say, despite being on deck 5, but good enough, I suppose. No leg raising device in the corner to assist you with whatever you might need to raise your leg for, but some White Company toiletries, which I found quite nice actually. Being a bloke, I don't usually bring my own, and they've been quite pleasant to use. So even though the lighting's not brilliant, I thought I'd sit down here for this next bit. So why didn't I pick this cabin? Well, most, perhaps all, cruise lines do give you a choice when you're making a booking as to whether the cruise line allocates you a cabin or whether you pay a little bit more to be able to pick your own. That little bit more is sometimes £5, 10, 20, 30, maybe 50 quid. It's generally not much. But as is the case with a few other things that P&O does, they choose to do things a little differently. So any book with P&O, you're given 3 price buckets to choose from: a saver, a middle one that I forget, and a select. And the bottom 2 categories do not allow you to pick your own cabin. It is allocated to you by P&O. Only if you buy up to the select package do you get to pick your own cabin. Now P&O then bundles a number of other things in with the ability to select your cabin. There's a free parking at Southampton or coach transfers to and from the port if you prefer, onboard credit, and that varies depending on which of those 2 previous options you choose. Plus, if there is a bus provided in a port, select passengers get that bus for free. So those 4 benefits are bundled together and cost about £300. So I'm travelling with my mum, and she likes to know where her cabin is going to be. She's got a few mobility issues too, and she likes to know she's only going to be a few cabins away from an elevator so she can get in and out fairly easily. We needed parking at Southampton, onboard credit's always worth having, so for her it was a relatively simple decision to pay the £300 to be able to pick her cabin. When it came to picking my cabin, there just wasn't justification for paying another £300. We didn't need parking. We're going to probably struggle to spend the onboard credit we've got anyway, let alone having another batch from me. I'm happy to walk in most ports, but there aren't that many ports on this cruise anyway, so the free bus transfer is of minimal value. And then of course there's picking the room. And we just couldn't justify paying 300 quid basically for me to be able to pick a room. So we spoke with a travel agent who was helping us with this booking, and we knew that we would be filling in a disability assistance form for my mum. So his advice was that although it wouldn't be guaranteed, if we filled in one of these assistance advice forms, nominated me as my mum's carer, and I am actually registered with a GP practice as her carer, then P&O would take that into account when allocating the rooms and put me in one that is quite close and quite convenient for my mum. So we picked a cabin class for me where we knew there was a lot of them on the same deck as my mum, and even though we weren't booking with this extra package, we could at least see availability by selecting that option through the booking engine, and we could see that quite a lot of those cabins were still available. So we decided not to pay the extra £300, filled in the disability assistance form, and trusted P&O to do the right thing by allocating me a cabin quite close to my mum. But of course, when my cabin allocation came through, my mum is on deck 15, I'm on deck 5. She's on the starboard side, I'm on the port side. She's in the forward part of the ship, I'm amidships. And I'm right next to the laundrette. There is probably not a worse cabin on the ship, and there are very few that are worse located for being able to quickly get between this cabin and my mum if she needs anything, which is the point of being a carer. Now, I got quite frustrated with this when P&O allocated me this room, and through our travel agent we appealed their decision, but on each occasion they came back saying, no, sorry, you've only paid the basic fare. This is the cabin you've been allocated, there's nothing we can do. I was welcome to pay something like £800 to upgrade my cabin to be able to pick one that is close to my mum, and my mum was welcome to pay about another £800 to upgrade her cabin from a balcony on deck 15 to a window cabin on deck 5, which doesn't sound like much of an upgrade to me. Now, I do a lot in the airplane space, and I know there is a strong belief that airlines will separate groups who do not buy seat selection and give them awful seat allocations in the hope that they will be so upset by this they will then pay extra to get seats together. And my suspicion throughout the entire booking process was that P&O is doing the same. They looked at this as an opportunity to try and get more money out of us, separated us quite deliberately, gave me a terrible cabin quite deliberately, in reasonable expectation that we would get grumpy about this and pay them more money, regardless of the fact that I am my mum's carer, regardless of the fact that we needed to be quite close together, and regardless of the fact that this is going to increase P&O's costs. We've got different muster stations, so if we'd had the same muster station, in the event of an emergency I would have been able to go and assist my mum. As I now have to go somewhere else, P&O has had to allocate a crew member specifically to my mum. In the event that there's an emergency, they will have to go to my mum's cabin and provide her with assistance to get to her muster station. If they'd given me a cabin close to her, they wouldn't have needed to go to this expense. So it's a frustrating, really annoying decision from P&O, and as you can tell, we weren't going to be bullied into paying the extra money. We've made it work. There haven't been any emergencies, so that crew member hasn't needed to go and assist my mum. Cross fingers, touch wood, certainly not yet, but it's just left a bit of a sour taste in the mouth. So there you go. This is cell number 5466 on the P&O Arvia. I think you'll understand why I describe it as a cell. It's been comfortable enough. The bed's not brilliant, but if you're doing a cruise right, you're only here to sleep and to shower anyway. And that's pretty much how it's panned out on this occasion. Thanks for watching. Please give this video a like if you enjoyed it. Please consider subscribing if you're new. And once you've considered, please subscribe and leave me a comment. Has this turned you off inside cabins forever? Do you agree that P&O was a little bit nasty, perhaps even sneaky, in how they allocated us the cabins? And if you'd like to support what I'm doing more directly, there is a Patreon account, the link to which is in the description below. So thanks again for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one. Goodbye.
All right.
You have to record
We understand
what the laundrette looked like.
Yeah.